Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly, presented by Excel Boats, along with the Dr. Tim Lang and Cindy. I'm Lyle. Doc, it has been cold here. The weather is nice today, and we got a couple of warm days coming up. But tonight, we're going to talk about winter clothing and what you wear when it's cold. But before we get to that, I have one tournament result from Mississippi Catfish Trail, and it was sent to me by Brian Mayo, and he wanted to thank everybody that battled the cold and fished with them in Helena on the Mississippi. First place went to Cat and Round Guide Service, David Magnus and Quentin Robbins. Second place and second big fish went to Grumpy Old Men, Doug Jolly and Clinton Wright. Third place went to Team Bardo, Marty Bardo and Robert Dickerson and Johnny Rainey. And ladies' big fish went to Cam Pitts. Angler of the Year had a two-way tie, with the tiebreaker being won by Davis Magnus on the most weight. Angler of the Year was sponsored by TNT Catfish. Second place in points went to Doug Jolly and Michael Wilson and Delta Steakhouse. Third place went to Team Cam Mayo, Brian Mayo and Cam Pitts. Sponsored by Bad Boy Mowers, and second place big fish went to Doug Jolly. They had a bunch of hooks that they give out from Hooker's Terminal Tackle, some great gift bags that were donated by Dale Dunaway of Dale's Tackle, and he wanted to give a special thank you to David Magnus for being some great B&M rods. He said they put a huge smile on some young anglers' faces. This was Brian's first year as tournament director, and he looks to me like he done a great job. Congratulations, everybody, on a cold tournament day. All right. Doc, I talked to you the other day about this a little bit, and I'm going to let you go first. And when you get done talking about one subject, if I have anything to add, I'll tell people about what we use. A lot of people fish year-round, and from here on out, you're going to need cold weather gear most of the time. So let's tell everybody what we do for cold weather catfishing.
Well, for me, as I get older, the cold affects me more than what it did 15, 20 years ago. So kind of one of the things that I do is I have to dress a little bit heavier than a lot of people do, just for the fact of my age and how much the cold does affect me. But the one thing that Lynn kind of set how should I say it, a rule was if it was 40 or below, I was to stay home. Now, if I'm in a tournament and it just happens to be cold, then there's not much I can do about it. But if I'm going to go out pleasure fishing, mostly in the wintertime, the air temperature, if it's 40 or above, I'll go. 40 or below, I stay home. Just for the fact that about 15 years ago, Bink and I were in Cumberland City, Tennessee. We were there for a week, and it poured down rain on us, and it was cold the whole time. And I ended up getting bronchitis and pneumonia, and Lynn had to take care of my sorry butt for almost 2 weeks. I missed 2 weeks of work. And so she was taking care of me. And after that, she said, no more. And to be honest with you, I don't ever want to go through that again.
No.
Pneumonia and bronchitis are really, really bad. I would hate to even think about it, even having it now at my age. So, so one of the things, a lot of people, you can use gloves, boots. There's all kinds of different stuff that we use. I do have gloves that I use when it's just it's chilly out. I'll use these. I've got these Tundras, but the best thing I've found that I like these mittens, just for the fact that when you're using gloves, the air will pass between the fingers here. And so what that does is that'll cool your fingers off. Whereas the mittens, your hand is just, it's like that. So all your fingers and everything stay nice and warm. The other thing is these are real easy to manipulate. A reel, holding onto a rod, you can reel, and you don't have to take these things off. These happen to be Cabela's. I bought these several years ago. They're all waterproof. You can dunk your hands in, and as long as you don't get above these cords, you're okay. But that's some of the stuff. The other thing that I do is to keep my hands is I wear one of these belly packs that you just slide your hands. The football players wear them and stuff like that. Now, because I'm a pretty big guy, I had to put extensions on mine to be able to get around when I've got all this equipment on to get around. So that's what I do with the hands. The other thing is I use the hand warmers. Those are really good. Keep in mind that the hand warmers have an expiration date on them. And it's usually, let me see, bear with me. Okay. Usually it's down here. I got to go back to the other stream. Usually it's down here in the corner. It says validation date. Validil. Yeah, it's right there by my finger. See it there?
Yep.
And it'll be stamped on there what the year. These are expired. So, but I've had these a long time. But that is, those can be really, those will take the chill right off of your hands, especially if you're handling fish and your hands get wet. Most of the time, I'll pull off a glove to handle a fish just because I don't want to bury that hook in my gloved hand. Becomes an issue then.
Yes, it does.
Your turn, Lyle.
On gloves and stuff, the stuff that I use is duck hunting gloves. You use them for any kind of hunting. That was the thing that I used them for mainly. I have two different kinds that I use. The real thick insulated ones like your mittens, but mine have finger holes in them. I actually never thought about the mittens and getting air going between the fingers, but mine work out really well. And the other kind are the neoprene ones. Used them years ago duck hunting to keep your hands from getting wet. If they get wet and there's any wind at all, they're instantly cold. So the neoprene works out really, really good to keep your hands dry. And then you can, whenever you're taking fish on and off or reeling them in or whatever, and then if you're just sitting still, I use the other ones to keep my hands warm. That's the way we do it. I've never used the heater little warm-up packs that you're talking about, hand warmers. I never did use them. Both my boys use them at deer hunting and stuff, but I never have used those. I know guys that actually put them in their boots and stuff to keep their feet warm. And in my opinion, keeping your feet and your hands warm is the most important part. You can layer your clothing when you start dressing up in the morning, and then as you warm up or it gets hot, you can take stuff off to keep from getting overheated or whatever. But layering clothing is one of the most important things, with your outer shell being the most important thing. One of the deals that I have quit doing, I know years ago everybody used to wear long johns, and I no longer do that. I wear sweatpants and sweatshirts underneath instead of long johns. And then if you get all hogged up by reeling in fish or getting slimed up, getting them all over, whatever, then you can take those off and you still have your sweats to drive home in if you so choose to do so.
Sure. Yeah.
Works out really well for me. And we have I know that there's a lot of different brands of coats and stuff. We have some hooded Walls coats. They're like Carhartts. I mean, there's Carhartts and Walls and several different brands that are insulated. These Walls we've had are at least 16 years old. They may be older than that. We had some embroidery work done on the back and the front of them when we got them from a lady. She done a really good job. They are not waterproof, but what they are windproof. They're very warm because they block the wind. Keeping the wind off of you is one of the most important things, in my opinion. But when it's nasty out, or you're in rain, or you're getting wet, water splashing over the side of your boat, you're in waves or whatever, you will get wet in those. But just to keep the wind off of you, that works really well. But we've got some other stuff that we wear when it's wet, rainy, snowy, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like rain and snow, I try to stay out of that stuff. The other thing is, and normally I wait till the end of the night to do this and give a doc's tip, but I'm going to, because we're on this kind of stuff here tonight. These little toe warmers that you see here, these are great for your telephone. Not everybody knows it, but when you get out there in the cold and that phone gets cold, it just sucks the life right out of the battery. So what I do, and this is Doc's tip for the night, is I take and put my phone in one of these waterproof packs, and then I take a toe warmer. Now, let me remind you, I don't use the hand warmer because they get hot. So you don't want to burn your phone up. But these toe warmers don't get near as hot, and they got an adhesive back on them. And all you have to do is take your phone and stick it right on there, on the case right there, and then take your phone and put it in this waterproof pack, and you're good to go. That's Doc's tip for the night.
That's a great tip, and it keeps your battery up. A lot of times, my coat that I was just talking about has an inside pocket, and there's a spot just the right size for a phone, and that's where I keep it, and it'll be next to me most all the time. And with the insulation of the coat and the warmth from your body, pretty well keeps it up. But they still go bad or dead. But we keep chargers and stuff, and I know you've got a little trick for that you told us about on another Doc's tip for keeping your phone charged up. But keeping the phones charged up in case of emergency on them cold, nasty old days, unless you're in a tournament, a lot of times when you're out in them cold days, there's not a lot of people on the water. So
right.
It's good idea to keep it charged, or keep a charger, or keep it warmed up where it doesn't go dead.
Yeah, because the cold definitely pulls the power right out of them.
Oh, it absolutely does. Absolutely does.
Now, the other thing that I do, especially in the wintertime, as everybody knows, I wear a life jacket all the time. Anytime I'm on the boat, I'm always wearing a life jacket. In the wintertime, though, I don't wear the inflatables. And here's the reason why. The bladder that is in these, that's here in the back, that inflates, and when it's cold outside, those get brittle. They're kind of made out of plastic and stuff like that. And then if this thing goes off, the CO2 cartridge fires in there, and if that is cold, instead of inflating, it'll pop a hole through it. So I would suggest that during the wintertime, you don't wear the inflatables. But what I do suggest that you wear is like a kayak life jacket, a regular life jacket. But I like the kayak life jacket mainly because it's got pads here on the front. And what's nice is it's got pads here on the back, all the way to the bottom. It's hard to get this whole. So here's see these pads that run down through here. They're solid. They're under the arm, under your armpits. You also have it right here. And what I do is I wear this under my jacket. I usually have a hoodie on top, and then I put this right on top of my hoodie. Then I put my winter jacket right over top of it. When I fell in the water a few years ago, this thing, it popped me right up. It got me, and I had a full winter gear on. So, but it brought me right to the surface.
Now, if I understand you correctly, that padding on that works as an insulation factor.
Yes.
Also to keep you warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just not only
It
does it
just
keep
stays
you
nice and
float.
warm, you know. If
Yeah.
if my chest gets cold, if my chest or back gets cold, I'm done.
Yep. Yep. I
You know, I
understand.
can handle my hands getting a little bit cold. My feet, I can tolerate that. Um, but you know, when it comes to my feet, my daughter a few years ago bought me these muck boots right here. These really nice muck boots. I really like these things. They're lightweight. They come way up. They're waterproof. When it gets really, really cold, which I probably won't do it again, but when, like, when I'm out fishing, but cleaning the driveway and stuff like that, I wear these Sorel packs. And this is a really, really heavy duty. You know, I got size 14 feet, and this boot is a size 16. So it is huge. It's wide, and you just kind of got to drag it along. But what's nice about it on the inside, if you can see that, it's got a wool pack, which is about
Mhm.
half-inch thick, and that thing keeps your toes real nice and warm. They're wet. They're waterproof up to this point where this draw cord is. Everything below it is all waterproof. But and
Awesome.
these are about probably 25, maybe even 30 years old. I've had them a long, long time.
Awesome. Great thing. We'll go over some more of that here in just a minute, Doc. We're going to give away some stuff and spin the old prize wheel. Give me a number, my man.
Number 2.
1, 2, and the winner is K&B Anglers. K&B Anglers. All right. There. I thought I had it over there, but Doc got into the show. It took up a lot of it. So we'll go like that. All American Catfish, K&B. If you'll contact Tim Berger with All American Catfish and tell him you was a winner on the prize wheel game for Catfish Weekly on Monday night, he will hook you up with some great prizes. I think they've got some shirts and stuff that they're going to give to you. So contact them. You can do that on Facebook, and they will fix you right up. Thanks so much for watching Catfish Weekly and playing our prize wheel game. Doc, you was talking about boots, and I'm going to go over a couple of boots that I have. These are the ones that I wear most of the time. These are Kamaki, and we got these at Bass Pro. Like you said, 15, 20 years ago, and they have the felt liner inside them also. Um, they're supposed to be waterproof, but at their age, I think they would probably leak a little bit. But the bottom part of them, and I rarely get out of a boat when we're fishing in the wintertime, these are the ones that I wear most of the time, and they're very warm. Um, Keeping them dry, and in a boat you don't get too wet, but this is the one that I wear most always in the winter because the others I got are too hot. They're just almost unbearably hot, and I'll get them out and show them to you. These are made by Red Ball, and Cindy got these for me years and years and years ago. These have 1,200 grams of fensolate in them, and they're called Boundaries. I don't even know if they still make them or not, but they're made by Red Ball. They're extremely warm, and they have this liner that goes in with them also, and then this little booty that goes inside of it. And you can wear any combination with or without these two that you want. The perfect thing they're made for is sitting in a deer stand bow hunting, or sitting in a deer stand gun hunting when it is really cold. Um, if it's not too cold to be in a boat or too cold to be fishing, I don't get along with these because my feet get hot, even with water wicking socks. They are just so hot that they're almost too much for fishing applications. But if you're one of them guys, and as we get older, your feet does not stay warm. And with your hands or feet get cold, most of us are pretty much done. These will keep you warm. Like I say, I don't know if they still make this particular model of boot or not. If they don't, I'm sure they make something very similar to it. 1,200 grains of Thinsulate plus 2 types of linings that goes inside them, and they are very, very warm. I could sit in a deer stand all day when it was 0 degrees and my feet never, ever got cold. So if you're having problems with that, I would highly recommend a pair of boots like this. But like I say, it is rare that I use them in a boat situation, because most of the time we're having an enclosure and a heater. And these are just too much for a situation like that, where the other ones, they work out really well, or even less boot than that. And as far as hats, I usually have a hoodie on underneath a coat, whether it be, we use fray bills, and we have 2 sets of fray bills. We have bibs and jackets. The first set we got was the old silver ones, and they worked extremely well. They're waterproof, they're windproof, they got a hood on them. You don't get cold in them really, but ours are so old now that the insulation between the 2 layers, the inner layer and the outer layer, is starting to bunch up from being washed and taken care of so many times that they kind of bunched up a little bit. So a year or so, maybe 2 years ago, Cindy got the newer style of them, which is the black edition of the same thing, and they are much, much better. They got padded places for your knees in different areas. They're extra heavy duty, again, windproof, waterproof. I mean, even in driving rain, we don't get wet. And I know that Cabela's makes their guide series in the 100-mile-an-hour seats that Bass Pro's got, and there's several other companies that make some really good stuff. But these was extremely good, and we get along very well with them. And again, they last a long time. And when you're spending the kind of money it takes to stay warm, get you something, the best that you can afford, and if you can keep the wind off of you, the water off of you, probably be all right.
Yeah. Combine that with heaters. We all carry heaters on board the boat. I've got the small little buddy heater. It's not so good when the wind's blowing, but if the wind isn't blowing, it's enough to keep your hands warm. The only thing you got to watch, and I had to laugh. I think it was Tabitha went and kind of started smoking her coveralls because she got a little too close to them.
That's right.
Yeah,
I got a message from James Smith. He said thermal wraps for the back keep your kidneys warm. If you keep your kidneys warm most of the time, you will stay warm. Ask Doc.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm guessing that he agrees with you on the keeping your back and your kidneys and stuff warm, because it would make a big difference.
Yeah,
big difference. So, what kind of outerwear do you have, Doc?
Well, I've got. I wear mainly Carhartts. I wear a Carhartt toboggan, generally over top of my Ohio State hat. Pull it down over my ears. They taught us in medic school that a lot of when hypothermia sets in, a lot of the heat goes right out through your head. I got a pretty big head, so I'd probably get cold pretty quick if I didn't have my head covered up. So, wearing a toboggan, that kind of stuff. A lot of times I'll wear, the ski mask thing that they have that covers your entire face up. And another thing that I'll wear is the balaclava. Those things are really nice. They keep you nice and warm. The problem in the wintertime is that I have is my glasses fog up. Especially if I'm sitting there, if I'm fighting a fish, I'm sitting there breathing real hard, and I have that balaclava on or any kind of a hood unit on, and it fogs up my glasses.
We have the goggle, or not the goggles, the face mask that we got from Rob Clodfelder a few years ago, that has the little mask in front of it and goes around you. It keeps your face really
Right.
warm, keeps any wind off of you. They don't fog up too bad, but if it's really cold and if you're in a tournament situation, because other than that, I see no reason to go very fast on the water when it's really cold. But it'll keep your face dry and cold, and the wind off of you, which you just need to do. It keeps you from getting wind burnt and everything else. But they work out really well, and actually they work well enough your glasses fit right underneath those too.
Yeah.
And one other thing, Doc, that we do a lot of is the gaiters, and we've got them from several different companies. People have sent them to us. You pull them up to your nose or something, and then you can put whatever else you want around them over you. And I walk the dog morning, noon, and night pretty much. And you can, when it's cold outside, you can wear those and breathe right through them. They work out really well. I don't know if you tried one of those or not, but they work out really well for me.
Some of the guys here, Rain-X works well for anti-fogging on the glasses, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Put shaving cream on your glasses, Doc. Stops them from fogging. Never thought
Really?
of that.
I never heard of that before.
No, that's different.
Yep.
So I don't know if somebody's messing with me or what, but okay. But hey, if y'all got some suggestions out there, jump in here and post them in the chat room.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. One of the things that we was going to get to, Doc, is heaters. Propane heaters is something that works for everybody, just about any situation. We have the Mr. Heater that you can either put the 1 pound canisters on each side of it, and they'll last most of the day, depending on how hard you run them. Or you can buy the hose kit, which we have, that hooks it up to a 30-pound propane tank, and it'll run forever on it. Well, not forever, but really long time. And you can run it wide open. And the one we have also has a spot in the back where you can put, I believe it's 6D batteries, and it has a fan that blows out the bottom, and it works really well. In an enclosure, we don't run them very high, because if you have an enclosure, it doesn't take very long to where, even if it's really, really cold, it'll heat you up pretty quick, and you're shutting it off, turning it down or to the lowest setting or whatever, because it gets so warm in there. And with all the plastic, the heat has nowhere to escape. We've actually had to have spots on them to where you had to open up and let some of it out. They just get really, really warm. But the one for when we was in a tournament last year, and Sonny Parker fished with us, and he brought a huge heater of his own, and we was using both of them. The frost was so thick on the windshield that we had to get it cleared off before we could take off. And I have this, and this bad boy puts out a lot of heat. And Sonny's actually was bigger, and it was a single unit of this kind. And we had this on one side of the boat and his on the other side of the boat. And we had them pointed right towards the windshield just to thaw them off so we could see to drive. This boy here, we've had it for years and years. You can't hardly run both of them if you're dressed up very warm, because they just get so hot, but you can turn them down to run one of them and low settings on them. This is a great tool. Just hook it up. It's got a deal where you can hook it up and mount it and screw it down right on a 30-pound tank, and it works really well, and it will keep you warm.
Yeah. I've got, one. Here's the one I've got. You see, well, there he is. It's sitting on the floor, and it's in a milk crate. I use it in a milk crate. That way it doesn't fall over. It's easy for me to move around. The other thing that I do is, let me get it here. You got to light these up, and I have a I don't smoke, so I don't ever carry a lighter. So I carry one of these, and I got it tied to a lanyard, and that lanyard attaches to the tank so that I never lose this thing.
That's a good idea.
Way, when I go to light it up and I let go of it, it doesn't drop overboard. It's going to stay right there. So that's another one of the tips that I do.
That's a great one. Our heater that I just showed you, it actually has electric. I believe. No, maybe it don't. But of course, I've always got a lighter with me, so that's really not an issue. But now the Buddy heater, um, it has two burners on it. One on one side that has a low setting and a medium setting, and then it has a high setting where it turns both of them on wide open. And like I said, if you turn that on wide open, and if you have batteries in it to run that blower, it makes a world of difference, and it gets more on your feet than the other one does. But the only thing that I'll say about these heaters, like the one that I showed you and the one Doc showed everybody, you got to watch getting your clothing and different things too close to them, because they'll melt clothes and burn you, and anything that they get very close to, they get extremely hot.
Right. Yeah. And there, somebody posted keep heaters away from the gas tank and vents for fuel. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Is keep it as far away from your fuel tank and the vent for the tank as you possibly can. Cindy, pick me out a number and let's give away something. I got to get up here to it. 1, 2, and the winner is Harley Neal. Harley wins. Harley wins too much. All right. Your turn.
You gotta scoot that over.
Oh, sorry. I had to get to stuff.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, that All American Catfish. Harley, if you will contact the good folks at All American Catfish, they will hook you up with some great prizes. I don't know how she hit them twice in one night, but it happens from time to time. As James Arwood very well knows, he has been hit a couple of times in one night. But just contact Tim and Uzi, and they will fix you up with a great prize. Thanks so much for watching Catfish Weekly and being part of the Rig Wrap Prize Wheel game.
Somebody had posted earlier in the chat that the electric jackets that they're coming out with, I've got one of those, a Milwaukee jacket, and it keeps me nice and toasty warm. I don't know how long the battery is going to last, but
now those work basically like the old electric socks used to.
yeah, it's got a battery. It's got a 12-volt battery pack that plugs right into it, and it heats fibers that are in there. There's wires that run through the jacket on your chest and on your back, and then the heat transfers down the arms. It's also got the pockets. It's got a separate heater for those, and so. But I got that. I got one of those.
Okay.
We had them at work, so it was nice.
I've only seen those been advertised this year. First time I'd ever seen them. How long have those been out?
Oh, they've been out several years, 3 or 4 years probably. Milwaukee has one of the best. They're high dollar, a couple $100, but I like to stay warm. So,
Right.
I mean, you can catch them on sale for. I caught mine on sale for like $160 some with some coupons and stuff like that. So
I see. Yep, I never did wear them. I tried the electric socks years and years ago when they come out with them, and I couldn't tell where they made any difference, so I didn't worry about the others. When I seen them, I figured it was a gimmick, because that, to me, that's what the socks was. The only thing I could see they did was wear out your batteries. They didn't. I couldn't get any use out of them, but by far these boots that I have are the best thing that I've ever seen. Anyways, near close to anything like that. Hey, Doc, if you would, why don't you load up the people in chat and let's give away one of our holiday spectacular prizes.
okay, give me a minute here.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, Ernie, I agree. We got a bunch of folks in here tonight. I seen Chris Flores was in a while ago. Ernie Brown, John Patrick, Lightning Bug Tracy, Jerry Ishcomer, Chrissy Brown, Patriot Catfish of America, Brandon Renfro, Chunky Cats Fishing. Man, they're flying now. Sandra Wells, Chad Wall, Janet Fox, Skip Stewart, Kentucky Catman Outdoor Adventures, Junior Proctor, Zachary Pence, Chaz L., Sonny Parker, James Fox, Justin's Fishing Fetish, K&B Anglers, Busted Budget Outdoor, Lloyd Malden, Maurice Kaysen, Mr. Gadget Catfishing. K-Bug Clark's in tonight. First time we've seen her in a while, Doc. Jordan Lear Outdoors, Jeremy Cottingham, William Winterstein, Paul Bird's in the house. Paul, I want to thank you and your people, your buddies from Lightning Bugs. We got our shipment of stuff in from them today. Thank you so much. Chad Peden, David Funk, Lonnie Rodenbush, Jeremy Beecham, and Brian Wagner, to name a few. All right, Doc, are y'all loaded up?
Yes, sir.
All right, pick us out one.
And the winner is Chad Wall.
Chad Wall.
Congratulations. That's for the big thing, isn't it?
Yep, for the holiday spectacular drawing. Now, Chad, if you will send me your shipping address after the show, I will ship you out a package for being a winner tonight, and then you'll be in the drawing for the big prizes in the spectacular giveaway coming up next month. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being in chat tonight, Chad.
Big Mama Catfishing. Anyone ever catfished the Cumberland River near Clarksville or Cumberland City? Oh, yeah. Did it for years. Unfortunately, I go by there to go to the Tennessee River now. I like the Tennessee River. I like Alabama, Pickwick, those areas down there. Although it's close, I haven't done it in years. I probably need to go back there sometime just to see what it's like.
That's one of my favorite places along there at Cumberland City is to go get skipjack. We've had some really fun times down there over the years. Bunches of us get together and go down there and catch bait.
Yeah.
Been a lot of fun. I'm not seeing anything in chat, Doc, from people with their suggestions on what they use in the wintertime. I thought that there would be a bunch of them in there. Now, some of them I haven't been watching it too close. There might have been a bunch of them that was in there earlier that I didn't see.
Yeah.
But
staying on top of everything. So
yeah,
far.
if you guys have any suggestions for wintertime fishing for any of our viewers,
the thermostat heated insoles are amazing too.
What's that?
Says thermocell heated insoles are amazing too. Chaz L. You can run the Milwaukee and DeWalt brand heated jackets off of drill batteries.
Really?
Last a long time.
Wow. Can
you wash the electric coats? Yes, you can. That was one of the first things I made sure of.
T-Med says the DeWalt 20-volt coat will cook you. That's pretty good. Stephen Hare says heater bodysuit. I know a lot of people talk about a lot of the real thin wick-away fabric that you wear close to your body because most of the time people claim that when they get a cold, they sweat, and then that's what makes them cold the rest of the day. Arctic armor, bibs, and jackets, extremely warm and dry, will float a man at 300-pound man. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. K&B Angler says, my wife said, wake up, turn over, and go back to sleep and wait for it to warm up. That's pretty good.
I mean, this time of year is one of my favorite times to fish. That area between just before Thanksgiving down to December, as long as it doesn't get too awful crazy cold out there. A few years ago, it was right in November when I caught that 21-pound channel cat down at Rocky Fork Lake. And actually, that day it was nice and warm. We were on the water, had jackets on, and had to take the jackets off because it got so warm out there. So
Right. One of the things that I think that people forget about is the days are shorter and it warms up around midday or so. And then all of a sudden the temperature starts dropping and it drops really fast. And when it does drop really fast, uh, when I get the coldest is loading the boat up and getting everything tied down and getting back in the truck. Because before you know it, you've already got cold.
right. Now, what do you guys that do bank fishing, what do you guys do? I know most of you build fires along the bank. Well, we can't build a fire on the boat like that. So what are some of the things that you guys that bank fish do?
There's a really, really good suggestion from Travis Davis. Always carry
Yeah.
salt for boat ramps in case they freeze up. Man, that's some great knowledge there.
Sand too.
Because, yeah, sand's another good one because a lot of times you can get in there and too many people have been in and out before you, and it only takes one person, and that boat ramp will freeze.
Sure.
And if you can't get out of the track, which sometimes you can't, then you're in trouble. But salt, sand, anything like that. Worst case scenario, if you have it in the back of your truck, if you have a fireplace, you can get some of the ashes from that. Just anything to get you a little grip so you can get in and out of there and be done with it.
Harley.
Drag an ice hut with you inside the use heater inside the ice hut. That's Cliff Miller. I guess that's what he does for fishing when it's cold. Pop up tent or hunting blind. Another good one. Sit in the truck with the heater on. Bank fishing. That's a good one. I don't build a campfire. Yeah. We've been to Cumberland City, and my heater that I hooked up to the propane tank that I showed you a while ago, J.D. Richardson and Chris Cordy and I stood around one of those and warmed up catching jack one year at Cumberland City. It was so cold down there that year that everybody was freezing. And that's the year that we had the big feed down there, Doc. You remember? And Harold Dodd was there, and we had Jerry and all of them come down from Wisconsin. We had all kinds of cheese and sandwiches and chili and vegetable soup. Man, it was a big time. That was really fun.
Ernie Brown, I'm planning on boxing in the tune with a heavy plastic so I can heat it up for us to fish cold weather.
Okay.
Yeah, kitty litter, floor dry, anything like that. Whatever you just got once you're in and you got that boatload, you got to get out. So anything that will get you just a little bit of traction, make a world of difference. I know salt will actually melt it some, and sand is real gritty. But anything that you got to put around them tires once you get started, so you can get on up in there, because the last thing you want to do is sit in there with things freezing. And don't rush people. Especially if someone's been fishing before recently, their boat is probably froze to their trailer. If it's that cold, and we've had to run into this at Wheeler Lake a time or two, when they back in, give them guys time to let their boat thaw out from the trailer, because chances are yours is going to be froze too, and people are going to have to wait for you to get out. So be patient with them. Extra gloves and hats in case others get wet. Good idea, Sonny.
Yeah, we had talked on a previous show about packing a whole set of another clothes and keeping them in the truck or your car.
And that is the perfect time to be doing that, is in the wintertime, because it is brutally cold. And if it is, like today, it was around 50 or a little over today. it's not t-shirt weather, but if the wind wasn't blowing, and here it wasn't, you could have been very comfortable out with the sunshine and sitting in a boat today. Your worst part of your trip would probably be traveling if you went very fast up and down the lake or the river. But when it's this cold, there's no reason to go that fast.
Oh, that's something. Yeah, Jeremy Beecham saw a soccer mom chair enclosure at Walmart today. My daughter has one of those, and that would be something that's really good for a boat.
Yeah,
If you
for
got enough
bag
room.
fishermen too.
Yeah, I mean, it just zips right up, and you're inside that thing.
Chrissy Brown says
Found
she
out
takes
today.
extra. Chrissy says she takes extra clothing even in the summertime, which we've talked about that, Doc. It's a great idea to do that. You just never know. You could fall in the lake or the river anytime you go out, whether you're bank fishing or, I mean, right now, there's a lot of guys bank fishing and they're catching some great fish in my area.
Oh, yeah.
But your feet can slip out from under you on that bank or on a dock or on the rocks near the bank. Anything that's there that's had water on it is slick. And if you fall in the water, it doesn't matter if you fall out of a boat or you just fall in, it's going to be cold. So extra change of clothes is one of the greatest things that you can take with you. So you get back to the truck and start it up, or the car, whatever you're in, change clothes. Once you get the heater going and you get some dry clothes on, chances are you'll be good. Ernie says she gets cold easily. Well, the older you get, I hate to tell you, but the more that affects you.
Yeah.
It really does. Adam, you'd love an enclosure if you had one. I'm telling you, there's nothing like them.
Rob Ellis, very long jumper cables in the event you need to get creative to start your boat after using accessories too much before a long time from running it.
That's exactly
Very
right.
true. I also carry a jump pack.
We do too.
Because it's smaller and it's easier to get to.
Your jump pack is way smaller than mine. The one that we got, I believe, would jumpstart anything. But the one you got is very compact. You can charge your cell phone or anything else on it. It was very impressive. Yeah. That was your tip of the week one time.
Yeah. And I've had to use that thing a couple of times. Not on mine, but on other people. They think I'm crazy. They'll say, "Hey, have you got any jumper cables?" And I'll hand them the Gulu.
Yeah.
And they go, "What am I supposed to do with this?" I said, "Just to hook it up and let her go. It'll jump you up." So
there's Mr. Gadget Catfishing says always carry a dry bag with clothes in it to change into. Trash bag inside a normal bag will work also, or the 2-gallon Ziploc or food saver bags. Great information right there.
Yeah. The other thing that I do, just to kind of, I'll put socks, underclothes, T-shirts, that kind of stuff. But then I put them in my vacuum packer, and I vacuum pack them. That way they get shoved down and they take less room and they don't get wet and they won't draw moisture.
Right.
Vacuum packed.
If they can't get air, they can't usually draw moisture. One of the things about vacuum, any clothing article at all, air is what makes them so big and bulky. You suck the air out of them, the biggest coat will only be about this wide. Saves you a lot of room in your boat or your pack bag or whatever you're taking to haul stuff to and from the boat with. Makes a world of difference. Flux capacitor can just travel to spring. That's pretty good. Jump pack is a must. I agree, Sonny. We got one. Doc's, ours is a lot bigger than Doc's, but don't forget to turn your lights off at the boat ramp if you go early in the morning. We was in Wheeler a couple years ago, and I had a guy park my truck, and they made you turn the lights off because it was blinding everybody going in and out of the lake. And he turned them back on. It was nice enough to park my truck, but left the lights on. And when we got back in it after the tournament, it was dead, and we had to mess around and get a jump from another guy to get going, which makes it kind of difficult because everybody's trying to either get in to get their boat out or get their boat out and get going, or weigh their fish, and you're sitting there with a dead battery, and your partner's in the lake with the boat, and don't know where you're at and why you can't get going. So jump pack makes all the difference in the world. We keep it in the truck year round in case somebody needs it, and then when we go out in the boat, we just set it in the boat, and it's right there in case, because we have actually run batteries down in the boat and had to change them out from one end of it to the other. And it makes it a little difficult to do, but it can be done, and it beats being stranded out there in the water or something. Because a lot of times, unless you're in a tournament, there's a lot of days that you go fishing, you don't see another boat this time of year.
Right.
All right. Some great information there, Doc.
It is really cold. Always keep a sleeping bag. You can use a pack sack compression bag to make it better for storage.
That's a
Thanks
good idea.
for gadget catfishing. That's a good
Absolutely. Tip. Hey, Zach. Extra large dry bag with dry clothes and area in it. The boat sinks, the bag will float you to land, and then you've got dry clothes. Man, that's a great idea. Really great idea. I'm not sure if you was at Wheeler a few years ago when Bink was releasing that big flathead that him and Janet caught and fell in the water releasing it. It was pretty cold and windy that day too, but there was enough people to help him get in and out of there. Falling in the water is no fun when it's cold. It's just nothing good about it.
It takes it out of you. So.
Steering cables can freeze up. They sure can on them old boats, and you just got to get some heat to them and warm them up, because if you don't, you're not turning it. When they freeze up, you're stuck. I had an old duck boat that was like that, froze up one day, floated away, and had a full enclosure on it that we duck hunted out of. And I set it up, turned the heaters on, and got 2 or 3 miles down the river before it thawed out. And then I fired it up when I could steer it, and headed back to the bank, picked up the 2 guys standing there waiting on me, wondered what the hell happened, because they had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, there's another good one. Travis Davis, always tell someone where you're going.
That's a really good idea, because I don't do it any longer, but I used to fish by myself a lot. And if I'd have got into trouble, nobody would ever know where I was at, because I never, I might go to a ramp and put in and catch some fish or not catch some fish and decide to go to a different area, load it up and go to a completely different boat ramp in a different area of the lake and go fishing the rest of the day. And nobody would ever do where I was at. And a lot of times that was before the use of cell phones was so popular.
Yeah. I've known of several people that slipped on docks or slipped on the ramp, broken ribs, busted their heads.
Yep, Sonny just went through that, and there he is talking about it too, because he fell in the back of his boat and messed himself up. But Sonny's kind of had an issue all summer with some of that stuff. Janet, 76-pound blue cat rolled me right in the water. It sure did, James. Everyone's laughed. I don't think anybody's laughing at Bink that day. It was pretty chilly. That was a great fish. It was a dandy. I'll tell you what, Doc, if you've got them, if you get a chance, load them up, and let's give away the other spot for the Holiday Spectacular.
All right. And the winner is Michael Pence.
Michael Pence. Awesome. Congratulations, Michael. What's that? Oh, he can't win. He already won.
All right.
He's already entered.
I thought he did.
All right. The winner is Hillbilly Jim Catfishing.
Hillbilly Jim Catfishing.
Is he on there?
He has to be, or he wouldn't be in chat.
No, on the list.
No. I don't know why I haven't. Congratulations, Jim. Send me your information after the show, and we will send you out a prize for being the winner this week. and you will be entered in the drawing for the holiday spectacular coming up next month. Thanks so much for watching Catfish Weekly and being in the chat tonight. We've only got a couple more weeks, Doc.
Yeah. It's the 16th. Is that December 16th?
I don't have a calendar here in front of me. Whatever Monday that is.
Yeah, third Monday of December.
Yep.
Yeah. It's on the other side of my light, so I have trouble seeing it.
I understand.
Let's see. Outside of that, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I think so.
For the most part, I think everybody's pretty well versed, but for some of the new ones that maybe have never, gone winter fishing, if you can try to hook up with one of these guys that does it a lot.
Absolutely.
I've done it a lot. Bink's done it a lot. In fact, Bink and I are we're going to try to go Friday if the weather's decent. So, the guys that have been doing it for years, they can teach you all kinds of different stuff. So,
well, and getting bait is one of the cold things that you need to do. But if you got the bait and everything is going good, this can be one of the best times of the year to catch some really quality fish. Yeah. I know Sonny and J.R. Bird and Joey Kirby and some of them guys have been fishing a lot here lately, and they've really been knocking out some really, really good quality fish this time of the year. And it's a great time if you get your bait and if you can stay about halfway warm, it can be extremely rewarding fishing fall and winter fishing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is. Dry box, keep phone in.
Yeah, I talked to Roger DeMint Jr. today, and he said that the fish were just absolutely slamming the rods down.
That's what everybody says.
One thing I like to hear is when they slam those rods down. Jonathan Watts,
where are you waders?
Where are you when throwing the net?
I had a set of waders, like I say, from back in the duck hunting days. They will also stop the wind and keep you dry. And I've had several sets over the years that didn't keep me dry, but if they'll keep you dry, they'll keep the wind off of you. And I believe the last pair that Cindy got me, they was canvas instead of neoprene, because I couldn't get a pair of neoprene ones that didn't leak sometime or another. But those canvas ones never did leak, and they had 1,000 grains of thinsulate in the feet of them, and they was extremely warm. And I'm telling you, if you can, anything that has to do with duck hunters and duck hunting gear and wear, it will keep you warm. It is designed to do that. Them guys fight the elements more than anybody I know, and they will. If you keep you warm, duck hunting gear is the way to go. Curious. Going to see if I missed anything in there. But everything that I use for wintertime mostly has to do with my duck hunting days, and it'll just keep you warm. Sonny says he has an ice fishing suit that works good on the boat too. That's some more good ideas.
We don't ice fish.
When I'm not getting on the ice doing any ice fishing. I'll just have to leave that to Sonny.
A flare gun, Sonny said.
Flare gun's a good idea. In case something would happen, that's a good way to get in contact with people, and you can see them night or day.
The other thing I do is I carry the radio. I have a portable radio that I carry that, if you do get stranded out on water, you can call somebody to get somebody there, especially if there's a barge going by.
Yep. That's exactly right. No ice fishing for Chrissy either. Yeah, I don't know, Doc. Do you ever change your mind about that?
Nope.
Yep, me
We
either.
got to
I'm
have a
not doing
boat
it.
underneath of me.
One thing, yeah, there it is. Just popped up from Muskrat Adventures or Mr. Gadget. Always wear your life jackets. This time of the year, it doesn't matter how good a swimmer you are. That cold will get you before you can get to the bank. And wear your life jacket, period. Joey Kirby says always keep several lighters in the boat so if he breaks down, he can build a fire on the bank. Great idea. Yeah, let them fill up and you can swim to shore. That's exactly right, Jim. Thank you, Terry. But, keep your boat tuned up. Make sure you got good quality gas and fuel in it. The last thing you want to do is not be able to strand it. Check your batteries to make sure they're good. Anything that you can do to prevent having problems out on the water is what you want to do this time of the year. Go out and have a great time and catch some fish. Anything else tonight, Doc?
Paul Bird said, which waders always keep a knife around your collar? If you go in, you won't have enough time to unbuckle, cut your losses.
That's a great idea. And just run
Yeah,
your feet out of them.
Weigh you down and pull you down.
And they will. They'll fill up with water faster than you can imagine. I think carrying knives is something that people don't do as much anymore, Doc, as they used to on their person. I mean, all the time.
Yeah. I know the guys that ice fish, they carry a lanyard with picks on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got it. Usually they have a knife. I've
Yep.
always got a knife on me just for the fact that in the wintertime, a lot of times I'll throw the iron. And rather than using my trolling motor to anchor me down. But generally in wintertime, there might be a little bit more current than what I normally see during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, have a blanket. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Doc, I think we about covered everything for the night. It's been a good show. Thank you guys for watching, staying in with us in the chat tonight. We appreciate it. Congratulations to all the winners. We're going to see you next Monday night right here on Catfish Weekly.